Yeah.
Because he's been, anyone that doesn't choose him, I don't know how he hasn't got in your team because, well, he's their top goal scorer.
So today we've got a Newcastle fan, a Chelsea fan, and an Arsenal fan. So let me start with Lewis.
We've got to start in net. I'm torn because at the first half of the season, I was picking Emi Martinez all the way because Aston Villa got off to one of the best starts in the Premier League for them. I mean, they did have a lot of games because of COVID where they were postponed. So then when they did come back and play, and they did drop off slightly, and they've dropped off massively in the second half of the season. But a big shout for me is Emi Martinez in net. I think he's been overlooked the second half of the season, but he has kept Aston Villa in a lot of their games. And the main one, he is my FPL goalkeeper. So like he's always going to be the number one for me. If we're talking centre backs, 100%. There's a bit of a controversial one because he ain't really got a look in. Harry Maguire has actually been very decent for Man United. And you look at he's first ranked for clearances in that team, tackles won in that team. And, you know, there are times where he's a bit shaky. We're having Lindelof on like the left of him or on the right of him, sorry. But big fan of him. Wesley Fofana as well, come in and emerging in that side at such a young age. Fantastic young prospect. I think genuinely he'd go on for years in the Premier League at the top level. But the best centre-back this year has to be Ruben Diaz. Purely the fact that Man City signed him from, was it Benfica, for not the biggest amount of money compared to what we've seen at other defenders. And he has completely transformed that team. Not only has he transformed that team, he's made John Stones look fantastic. And John Stones has the raw ability to play football and defend well, but he makes a lot of silly mistakes. And he kind of runs around like a headless chicken sometimes, especially in the England team. But with Diaz next to him, unplayable, them two. They've been phenomenal. So I'd play like a back three.
Oh, you're going for those three? Okay, I see how we're going. Yeah.
Maguire, I think Maguire slots in there in the middle of them two. Left back, I've got to go Luke Shaw. I think he's been outstanding this year. Other notable mentions, like Ben Chilwell's done great signing for Chelsea, got himself on the score sheet a few times. But I think he hasn't had a look in as much because Alonso's kind of on the edge as well. He kind of rotates them a bit. And then Ryan will like me for this. Reece James probably at right back, right wing back kind of role. Trent Alexander-Arnold is massively up there for me with how he's been in the past 6 weeks. But as a whole season, I think Liverpool have dropped off massively. Their resurgence right now, purely, I do believe, is down to him and the delivery he does and, you know, how good he is running forward. But their defensive woes, losing Van Dijk, losing Gomez, and obviously Trent not having the best of seasons at the start and missing out on the England squad. I think he misses out on my team of the season personally. Yep. But yeah, I'm rather be happy, but I think I'll go Reece James. I really like him.
But no, that was your defense. Who have you got in your midfield? Are we going for a 2-man or a 3-man midfield?
See that this is so difficult because I want so many players in my team because I've already got my top 3 established. I know they are in my mind. I'm gonna have to go with Gundogan at centre mid.
Yeah,
because he's been anyone that doesn't choose him, I don't know how he hasn't got in your team because he's their top goal scorer for Man City. They've found a way of scoring goals without having a recognised number 9 this whole season. So to have him as a goal threat has been fantastic. I am snubbing De Bruyne, unfortunately. He just misses out because he did miss quite a few games for injury. But yeah, Mason Mount in there in the middle with him, with Gundogan, because he just consistently popped up for Chelsea when they've needed him in the big games, the FA Cup games, Champions League games, and the Premier League. He's been there. Stark. Yeah, I can't deny his talent. And then up the top, I'm gonna have to go with again, kind of with the Aston Villa front, Jack Grealish for me. He's been injured the past 2 months, but he was absolutely phenomenal for the first 6 months of this season. Like again, he's one of the most. He's got the most attacking returns in English centre mids almost, or like midfielders because of the left wing role. Him and I think it was Jack Harrison are equal at the moment with 18. I think Grealish got 10 goals and 8 assists, I believe, or the other way around. But yeah, obviously we haven't seen so much of him recently, so I think he's kind of gone out of people's minds. I'd play him on the left and then play Phil Foden on the right, which is, again, controversially don't really play there, but I want him in my team, so I'll put him anywhere I need him to be. Because, again, Phil Foden, man, like, Phil from Stockport is going to win us the Euros.
Don't
I
say
truly,
that.
I
Nah,
truly
don't.
believe it.
Everyone's saying that, but it's just overhyping again. Nah.
No, stop putting Iniesta. He's gonna win us the Euros.
I'm wearing the Iniesta shirt right now. I don't think.
Yeah, and we're bigging up Phil Foden on the pod.
Oh man.
Yeah,
And
big him
then
up.
yeah, we've got to big him up. If they're not in any of your teams, then fair play. I'll stand with egg on my face. But he's been phenomenal. And then, is there anyone better than Harry Kane at striker? I don't think we can look past Harry Kane being the best striker in Europe at the moment, if not the world. Tottenham are going to miss him. He's one of the best strikers I've ever seen since Alan Shearer, the boy.
Big Kez, Ryan, let's hear your initial thoughts on that team. How did you find that, Big Kez, as a 5-2-3?
Good team, good team. Few players left out that I'd question. Likes of Salah, phenomenal goal scoring season. Not even a mention there, mate. It's a bit harsh.
When you're talking about Stockport Iniesta, mate, Salah don't get a mention.
No, but overall, it's a good team there. To be fair, I mean, you can't argue a lot of them shouts there. Good, solid team.
What do you make of being the best striker in Europe, being an Arsenal fan? Or your reaction to that, Kez?
Well, come Euros, I'll have the Kane shirt on. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'll change this for an England one any day. Get that new blue one. That looks actually really nice to go for.
Yeah, you can't argue it really. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think for me, him under Jose Mourinho was probably the best Harry Kane I've ever seen personally. I know everyone wants to criticize Jose Mourinho, but a few of us here on our Friday Night Counters that we do like Jose Mourinho and what he's done in the past, and he's a fun manager to watch his box office. And I believe he could have brought Kane and Son a trophy, being sacked a week before the League Cup final. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes Daniel Levy's ever done.
For a lot of us, we're going to have the same sort of mixed bag of players in there, but I think that's the best thing about Team of the Seasons is everyone's is always, I think, going to be different. There's always going to be one or two players that do get into certain squads and ones that do miss out. I think this season that there has been so many players that have had a fantastic season. Like, you could easily in part forget about Foden because, you know, he's not played the most amount of games, but in the Champions League, which obviously is a different competition, he's been brilliant. And when he has featured in the Premier League, off the bench or starting, he has shone as well. But yeah, it's definitely not as an easy of a season to pick a full out and out starting 11. Obviously, Lewis gone for the 5-2-3 formation there as well. But yeah, some really good mentions there. Obviously, Fofana for me is a standout. I think he's been incredible considering like no one had really ever heard of him. He's come in his first season, like full out and out season in the Premier League, and yeah, he's absolutely smashed it. And then a lot of the England boys as well getting into these sort of mentions. Obviously, Reece James, Luke Shaw, like you said there, Phil Foden, Mason Mount, and there's a lot more as well that can easily feature, which is I think definitely optimistic for us just heading into the Euros.